What's up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple DIY shelf, and all you're going to need for this is butcher block and brackets. Now the tools you're going to need are a drill, a table saw or a skill saw, and a palm sander or even sandpaper. You can do this by hand. So the brackets that I picked are these Silverton shelf-made exclusives. These only hold a 12-inch shelf. You can use a different bracket and you can make them a little bit longer or shorter depending on what you're looking for. But all you really need to get is a butcher block countertop, and you can pick this out to your desired width. The space that we're going to be using this in is over here in our laundry room. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this side by side and make it a stackable, and we're going to put these 3 shelves here. So the opening is about 30 inches. Our butcher block is 25 inches wide. Gives us a little bit of space on both sides. It should work out perfect. And we'll be able to make 4 shelves out of this, but we're only going to go with 3. And maybe the customer will want to put an extra shelf somewhere else, but for the space that we have, 3 shelves should be plenty. So let's get right to it. All right, I'm going to take this butcher block out and we're going to cut the shelves. Follow me. All right, guys, so when I measured those brackets, they come out to be about a 1/16 inch shy of 12 inches. Now I'm going to cut 2 shelves off the ends, and then my third one, I'm going to try to make it a really nice straight cut, and we're going to have to sand off the face of that and match this tiny bevel, but I'll show you how to do that in a minute. For now, let's just get our mark at 11 and 15/16 both sides. Our straight edge here. There's a slight wobble to this, and you're going to get that with butcher block, but let's just see if we can get that right over, pin it down as best we can. Perfect. Now you can use a table saw for this, but I'm just going to go with the worm drive. I got a little table set up here and here, so we'll just try to get that nice straight cut, which will be on the back side, so we won't even see it. Alrighty. All right, guys, so here is where we're gonna get into the installation of the shelf. We had some technical difficulties, and I ended up not saving the video where I was going into all of these steps between the 2 previous shelves. So luckily I noticed that I was able to get my camera back out, set up on the tripod, and even though the shot's a little further away, I'll be able to explain exactly what I'm doing here. So I want these shelves 16 inches apart. So what I was doing there is just measuring 16 inches from the top of the previous shelf. Just going to check and make sure I'm level, which I am. And I also had some marks that I made with my 6-foot level where I would be able to match up all of the screws on the vertical. So I'm just extending that line. These brackets are going to come back off. The shelves are going to come back off when we get into the finish. But what I'm doing here is just making sure that everything is lined up vertically and everything is level horizontally. Alright, so now I'm just putting these 100-pound anchors on the shelf, just getting them ready. And what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to mark out the placement of my top anchor. And when I install that top anchor, I'll be able to shift my my bracket over so that I can put the bottom anchor in. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But I'm just making sure that I'm lined up at the top. There you go. I'm putting that top anchor mark in. Repeating the process over on the right side. Putting that top anchor mark in there. And then what I'm going to do is just grab my level. I'm going to check to make sure that I wasn't just eyeballing it. And I believe right here I'm going to confirm that my bubble is in the right spot. So we'll be able to rock and roll and put those two in. So these anchors that you get over at Home Depot, they're the screw-in ones. The only issue that I find with these is if you go too far, you're going to end up spinning them out, which I did on this project. So we're going to have to remove one of those and replace it with a toggle bolt. The problem with the toggle bolts is you got to use the screws they come with, and they don't really come in black. So the second shelf there, I ended up spinning one out. But as long as you go in nice and slow, nice and careful, you should be fine. And you can do that just by turning your drill down to the slowest setting, or just being careful, which I am not. Now you see what I'm doing here. I'm feeding the screw in, and I'm going to get that set into the top. Once again, go nice and slow with these. These anchors are great, but if you mess it up and you spin out, you're going to have a giant hole, and the only way you really can fix them is by putting a toggle bolt in. But I got that bracket in, nice and easy. We're going to do the same thing, repeat the process over here. Get that bracket set. And these should work out perfectly level because the anchor points are in the right place, but you can always just double check and make sure. And if you have to make adjustments, you can micro adjust these, but not too much. They're pretty solid. All right, so now that I got those two in, I'm just going to line it up with that mark I made, double checking, making sure it's plumb. Once I get that done, I can put my mark for the bottom, and we'll slide that over, get that one screwed in, repeat the process for the left. I know this is very repetitive, but I'm just trying to show that if you're doing this DIY stuff, you do want to take all these steps. You don't want to just eyeball stuff, because when you get finished, you step back, you end up looking a little wonky. You got to repeat the process. It's much better to just go slow, take your time, and do it right, because this may be 5-10 minutes a shelf, but if I just eyeballed it, went through it, got it done in a minute, save a couple of minutes, and then you got a long process of fixing it. So I'm confident I got my marks in the right spot, so I'm going to put these bottom anchors in the same way I did the top. They just screw right into the drywall. They're pointed, so they sort of self-tap, and when you finish them off, they end up nice and flush with the drywall. There we go. We'll slide that back over, slide the other one over, and then we'll feed those other two screws in, and that's really going to be it for these. There's also two smaller screws that go under the shelf to secure it in place on both sides. But yeah, very simple process, but measure, check everything with a level, make sure it's all done right. Now that those are in place, I think I'm just going to fit this piece in, and stay tuned tomorrow. I'll be doing the sanding and finishing of this face and that small bevel like I mentioned, and we'll put some conditioning oil on these as well, because the customer just wants that natural look. And there you have it, guys. 3 shelves, 1 hour, nice and easy. Came out great. See you later.